listen for the storm. Hear the difference in the wind. When dark clouds form and start to turn, I'll run again. Far away when the hurricane comes in. Far away when the hurricane, oh, that old hurricane comes.
Hello everyone, I'm FARMERSIM and welcome back to Delta South Grain and Harvest. I hope you're keeping well and having a brilliant day. So, first and foremost, onwards from the last episode, I've been able to fix, thanks to one of you wonderful folk out there, been able to sort out and fix the issue that we had over with the long grain rice. Now, if you haven't seen the last episode, essentially I've got a huge field that is made up of several fields stitched together, and for some reason in between those fields, the area of land between those fields I wasn't able to drill in for some reason. So I need to give a massive shout out to Sandman over on my Discord, who, following on from the last episode, immediately came to the rescue and said, oh, you need this mod, it's called Allow Rice on Fields and it's by Yoss. So yeah, as soon as I got that mod installed and tested it, it worked absolutely perfectly. So yeah, massive shout out to Sandman. I really appreciate the help with that one, because I must admit I was a little bit at the time I was a bit gutted and a bit worried, just thinking, oh goodness, you know what I mean, have I gone and picked the wrong map, or have I done something wrong, or you know what I mean, just a little bit of faffing around to try and fix it, because I've never experienced that issue before. But at the same time, I've never drilled long grain rice before. This was a first for me, so it's a learning curve, but now I know. So it's all good. So I'll throw in a quick clip here of me just panning around the field. But yeah, the long grain rice is all in. The bit I can jump into the PDA actually and show you just as well, can't I? But there you go. So I do have this loading map problem there, but yeah, all these 6 fields are now all one crop, long grain rice. That's all good. But as you can see, it does need rolling. Now we're in April, we've got lots to do. We can now drill our corn and our soybeans. We've got these 4 fields here which we're going to drill with corn eventually. Field 100 and this tiny little field here, 176, this is going to be corn as well. 99 and 122 here are going to be beans, soybeans, and 152 and 121 here are going to be soybeans as well. So lots of planting to get done. But before we get to that, I just feel, you know, trying to focus on the little bit of realism that I try and achieve with my my videos, because we worked in the fields with this thing in the last episode. I feel it's the right thing to do, to give it a wash. Now, I have, in my mind, I've kind of considered it a little bit of a, not over the top in any sense of the word, but essentially the drilling of the long grain rice with this seeder, that's all it's got to do, just the one field so far. So it might seem a little bit overkill. It's a very expensive bit of equipment combined with the air cart there as well. But the plan is, in the near future, I say near future, it's going to be pretty much when when we get next harvest next year, essentially, or later in the year, sorry. When we get the harvest and we get the crops out the ground, then we get the money in the bank. That's when I'm going to consider purchasing more land. We've got 224 grand in the bank at the minute, so we do have a little bit of money. I could, if I wanted to, afford to spend a little bit of money on more land right now if I wanted, because the field prices they're not too bad in places, but some of the land prices don't necessarily add up. I'll show you what I mean in a second. Let me just bring this to a halt here. But if we jump back into the PDA, and I'll show you what I mean. So, like I say, 224 grand in the bank, so we do have a little bit of expansion possible. But at the minute, we've only just kind of started, so I want to make sure I've you know, dealt with all the bits and bobs that all of our current land requires before we go spending money on more land. But let's take these 2 fields, for example, as a price comparison. So field 150 is $90,144. I could go and buy that right now. But the next door field, and that's 26 acres, the next door field at field 97, 27 acres, and it's $380,000. It's like, what? It's pretty much the same size. Even though, you know, yes, the land, when you click on the field, you just get that bit of green there. But when you click on 97, it does come with the roadway and the bit of work, the bit of land surrounding field 150 as well. But 380 grand? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't add up. If we look at field 69 here, that's $361,137. Field 97 is 380. So that plot of land is more expensive than this huge, great big thing. So anyway, I just wanted to show that to you anyway. But yeah, so in the near future, when we do have the when we do get our first harvest done, I'm going to consider investing in a bit more land and expanding the farm. But like I say, I just want to, you know, get to grips with what we've got first, get all the crops into the ground, get them harvested, and just deal with all that, because we have got we've still got quite a bit of work to deal with the our current fields that we have planted. What we do need to do, what I'm going to do now, what I want to do before we get planting any corn and any soybeans, I want to box off the jobs that need to be done in the fields that we currently have planted. So over in the cotton field, just over there, and on the back of, over the back of the trees there, that's all planted, but they are riddled with weeds. So we need to get the Kin and Fab Big Burn out and go and kill them with fire. I'm really looking forward to using this bit of kit. I've only used it once, making a clip for the opening cinematic of this series. I haven't had the chance to properly use it yet. So I've got that hooked up to the Magnum that did have the helicopter tanks on. I've removed the side tanks from the Magnum because that does have twin row crops on, so we shouldn't get any crop damage from that. Right, there we go. That's that clean. So yeah, we shouldn't have any crop damage using the Magnum there, but I've kept the front tank on, and I've got that filled up with herbicide as well, just to give it a bit of ballast, essentially. Make sure it's still got a decent bit of weight over the front axle there when it's pulling that when it's working with the Kin and Fab, because the Kin and Fab is a rear mounted thing and it's quite a heavy lump, let's be honest. So hey up, there's the dog. He doesn't half have a radius on him, I've got to say. Oh, now before we do crack on, I just want, in the last episode as well, I was having something of a bit of fun with the physics and the handling of this particular convoy. Now, what I have done in between episodes, and a big shout out to Welsh Sim Farmer actually, because he told me about this mod. But there's a mod that's just recently been released. It's called Mod Mixer, and what that does is essentially it dives into your mod folder as you're loading up a game, and it will identify and label and tell you all about any mod conflicts that you have running on your game. Now, I've had a bit of a, I'm not going to say a performance issue, but occasionally at times this save game of mine does drop frames. I've mentioned it a few times in passing. I'm sorry to keep harping on about it, but I've had a bit of frame drop here and there, and it, you know, as a content creator, I always try to make sure that my videos look, you know, when it comes to performance and stuff, that they look as good as they can be. And when I get frame drops and my camera panning becomes jerky and the movements become jerky, it drives me up the bloody wall. So yeah, I fell down a rabbit hole with that Mod Mixer mod, but it is actually really, really cool. And as a result of that, I have actually, in between this episode and the last, I've removed a handful of mods that I had running. One of them was the realistic game engine. Now that's a mod that I've been using ever since I found out about it. I've been using it on pretty much every game save, but that was the mod that was responsible for the ridiculous handling and physics of the pickup truck and the seed tender there. So I've removed that, and that now drives perfectly fine. Now, don't get me wrong, I fully appreciate that in the real world, having tens of thousands of litres of seed behind us. What's this one got? Where's my little information box? Oh, it came up there. Where is it? I don't know. But when this thing is full, it's got quite a decent capacity of seed. So when you factor in the weight of all that, yes, potentially this poor little pickup truck was being massively overloaded. But do you know what I mean? It's what I'm using to run my seed tender and pull it out to the field and load up the planters and such. So I just wanted it to behave a little bit better within the confines of the game. So realistic, the more realistic game engine mod has been removed, because it did also, the Mod Mixer mod also did tell me that there was a conflict between that and a couple of other mods as well. So it's a cracking mod. If you're on PC and you're a little bit like me and you want your game to be running as perfectly as possible, I highly recommend it. I'll pop the link to it in the video description below. It's a cracking thing. So yeah, right. Let's cracking anyway. I've got this thing filled up. We've got herbicide in the front tank. We've got herbicide in the Kin and Fab here. So what I do want to do is get cracking and get killing off these weeds. So let's turn on the engine there. Get cracking, get this in. We're going to work in the 2 cotton fields first. And then when this is done, we'll bring this back to the yard. This thing needs a bit of a clean as well, to be honest. But I do have to be very careful of this thing, because it's a big, wide chunk, this big burn. As I'm approaching here, I've just had a little bit of a panic that I can actually get this thing through the gate here. I hope I can. I've got to be very, very careful and just try and position it as centrally as possible. Are you going to let me through? No. Oh, bugger. This thing ain't going through here at all, is it? Whoops. Well, I was right to have that momentary panic then, wasn't I? Let's get back around here. Goodness me. Yeah, most things can fit through there, but yeah, I hadn't actually thought of that. So, back round the other way. Talk amongst yourselves. But yeah, I'm really excited to get this kin and fab thing running. Ever since it came out, I've been very keen to use it. But yeah, as a result of doing all these mod removals and all that kind of stuff, the game is running considerably better, I've got to say. It really is. Right. Let's get you selected, get you unfolded. It's a cracking thing, this, it really is. There we are. Now, we've got the row crops, but we shouldn't get any crop damage now, which is great. So, let's drop you down and turn you on. There you go, look at that. Fire. Let's get these weeds gone. Now, it's 10:30 in the morning. We do have a little bit of rain forecast between 12 and 2, I think. So I'm hoping I can get a good dent in this work. See how far it gets us. But yeah, there you go. You can see those weeds. Obviously, it doesn't do anything different to the usual state of the weeds that we see when you run herbicide or anything, whether it's with a sprayer or with this thing. You just get that browned weed look to them. But the main thing is, we're killing them off. And so far, hoping that what we've got here, 2,638 litres and counting of herbicide, will go the distance with this field at least. And yeah, and that's going to be the next job, running that big roller over there, take that out to the long grain rice and get that rolled over. Now we're going to have a lot of work to do with soil and fertiliser as well, get the big long grain rice field boxed off, but it's a bit more complex to go into the details of that particular field because it's made up of 6 individual fields, and because of the way soil and fertiliser does, well, obviously you look at each individual field in their own merits, don't you? Unfortunately, it's not combining them all together, which is fine. It is what it is. That's the mechanics of the mod. It's me making things more difficult by stitching them all together, isn't it? But yeah, we've got a lot of work to do with in those fields. Top up the nitrogen, the phosphorus and the potassium. They are all right for lime, so yeah, but there's going to be a lot of work to do. Whether we get round, I don't think we're going to get round to doing any of that in today's episode. I want to focus on getting these weeds killed off in both of these fields, because there is a sizable bit of land to work with this big burn, and then get the long grain rice rolled over with the big roller there, and that'll be good progress. Well done. Now, obviously, when I was doing all this fiddling around with mods in between episodes, I'd actually, because I was kind of experimenting with things, it was telling me there was mod conflicts between Advanced Damage System and a few others, and I did actually turn off Advanced Damage System temporarily, and I came back into the game, and without thinking, I actually saved the game with Advanced Damage System deactivated. So I have reactivated ADS, and I've made the changes that I made to my save over on Whitcomb, and increased the amp hours of the battery capacity, so that's now up to 150 amp hours, which is just that more realistic level. So hopefully, now that Advanced Damage System has been deactivated and reactivated, all the flat batteries that I had in the combine harvesters and the cotton harvesters, they're all back up to 100% again, thankfully. So hopefully we won't have any flat batteries for now. Increasing that battery capacity does still give you the chance of having flat batteries and such, but it just makes it just gives the batteries a higher capacity, so it greatly reduces that risk. So yeah, but yeah, it's back activated again. But I've like I say, I've removed a handful of mods, and so far up to now, touch wood, the performance has increased a little bit. It wasn't too bad. It was my main problem with it was when I was facing my farm. It still does do it now and again in certain places. It's a very strange thing, but I think it's... I think the main thing to blame is the fact that the farm is so heavily populated with such a lot of machinery that's all very close together. Do you know what I mean? So, and I've read reports forever with Farming Simulator that if you have a heavily populated farm with a lot of machinery, having all that machinery there in very close quarters can significantly impact your frames per second. So I'll see if it does it here. If I bring up the FPS count there. Oh, let me just concentrate on getting around this bend skill issue. But yeah, so now we're on the straight and narrow there. There you go, you see what I mean? Facing directly in front of me there, fine. As soon as I turn towards the farm, drops to 26, 25, and it's just really annoying. For someone like me, who's just a bit nerdy about stuff like that, just having that drop is just a bit odd. But the mod mixer helped in a lot of places with it, getting rid of mods or getting rid of mod conflicts, things that were arguing with each other essentially. But you know what? It's fine. It is what it is. I've just got to accept that not everything is going to work perfectly 100% of the time. So anyway, right, how are we doing with this? So 96% full. Looking at those numbers, I think I could almost confidently say that we'll get this whole field done with what we've got here. We'll probably need to go and fill up again when we need to cross over and go and deal with those two fields. So I shall shut up now. I'll stick some tunes on. There we are. Let's kill them with fire, folks. See you in a bit. Bugger. That forecast was a bit wrong, wasn't it? It was forecast to come between 12 and 2, I think it was. But yeah, 10 past 11, and it's pretty heavy rain now, so I've just turned everything off. I'm just going to sit and wait it out. Might be a little bit of time, but there's not much point going back over there. I've not got much to do, can't do anything in this, so I'm just going to wait it out. And we'll carry on in a little while when the rain's been and gone. Well then, that took a bit longer than I was expecting. Look at the time there, it's 20 to 8 in the evening. The rain didn't actually stop till 4 PM. So I did actually, instead of just sitting in the tractor doing absolutely nothing for hours on end, I did go back to the farm and just keep myself busy, and I gave everything a wash, apart from this thing. Everything's looking lovely, splendid and clean back in the sheds over there. But concentrating and focusing on the cotton now, these fields are all completely boxed off. We've got a yield bonus here of 103%. Which is brilliant. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting down to harvest time. Now, touching quickly on the topic I mentioned earlier on about sorting out the fields and the drilling of fields. Yes, I was able to overcome the issue that we had drilling the areas of land between the fields that I'd stitched together, but there's still no option to do it with this particular area because initially when I started this series, this was one big cotton field, but because of this road, no matter what I did, even if I cultivated it over and it looked like a field, I was still unable to drill on here with cotton. So even though that rice mod came to the rescue, yeah, there's not much I can do with this. So Anyway, 'tis what it is. But one thing I have just appreciated, now this is regarding soil and fertiliser, and I do apologise for keeping harping on about soil and fertiliser in the last several videos that I've made, whether it's here or over on Whitcomb, but soil and fertiliser has very recently, in the last few days, received a sizable update. Now, what I've just noticed in this save game is a few things have changed, and it's going to require me to do a little bit more work. Now, in respect of the lime, for example, this large field here made up of these four, this was all perfectly fine for lime, and I had to go back to a previous episode and just check for my own sanity, really. But if I just overlay an image here, you'll see that this corner of the field is all nice and green, whereas now, as we currently stand after the mod's been updated, we've now got these areas around which are very acidic, and whereas the section in the middle is at optimal level. So I'm still going to have to do a little bit more liming in this field. And as you can see, fields 99 and 122 as well. These were all topped up with lime and they were right to go. Do you know what I mean? But now, very acidic. They've got, as near as makes no difference, according to this, they've got nothing. They have a pH level of 5.0. So yeah, there's been a little bit of alteration. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to sort that out between episodes. So between now and the next video, I'll try and get those all topped up so that we're ready to go for drilling the corn and the beans in the next episode or so. But for now, it's 7:45 in the evening, so we've made good use of this in-game day. So I'm going to get myself back to the farm, and I'll pick you up in the morning, where we'll be hitching up the roller and going and running that over the long grain rice. Good morning, folks. Here we are. 2nd of April. It's a good day of weather as well. The forecast has given some rain sometime around 5 o'clock. How accurate that will be, I don't know, but we shall see. So we need to crack on. I'll tell you what, though, there is something nice about having a full complement of clean, shiny equipment. The wet look has worn off overnight, unfortunately. I do like that wet look that we get in FS25. But anyway, yeah, time to crack on. We need to go and hitch up the roller and sort out this long grain rice field. So, yeah, let's get cracking. Right, where's my key for this one? It's behind the steering wheel, isn't it? There we go. Get that turned on. Right, well, while we wait for the engine to warm up, there is something I'm considering doing, another little quick swap out of a bit of equipment. Now, I'm not necessarily going to do that right away, and it's likely going to cost me a bit of money. But big shout out to Kim, the creator of this farm, my good mate. She sent me a link to a modder's itch page a few days back, and this is a modder called Winston9587, and it's focusing on cotton equipment. I really like using a modded bit of equipment over using a bit of base game equipment. I don't know why, it's just the way I've always liked to play. But there has been very few, or there are very few modded cotton bits of equipment really out in the community. And Kim very kindly sent me a link to this modder's page, and it's this thing. It is Lizard branded. I know I mentioned that I'm not overly keen on using Lizard stuff, but I'm happy to make an exception for this one. But it's a truck mounted cotton trailer, as opposed to using the one that goes on an articulated or a semi truck, or semi. Sorry. Yeah, it's a rigid chassis cotton truck, and I really like the idea of using it. Now it's 145 grand, so do you know what I mean? It's quite an expensive bit of kit, and the value that currently sits in my base game cotton trailer is, oh look at that, there we go, is about 38 grand. So if I was to buy it new, it could end up costing me a bit of money. But what I'm going to try and do is hold out, because I know I've showed you all what we've got on the map in previous episodes, but we've got 3 of Aussie's used equipment yards dotted around this map. So what I'm going to hope, fingers crossed, is that one of these awesome trucks does come up for sale in one of those used equipment lots over the next few months before harvest, because obviously I don't need it now, do I? So that's where my mind's going with that. I'm going to see what turns up, and if one does turn up in the used lot, then I'll certainly consider jumping on board with it. Like I say, we don't need it at all for a while yet, so I'm going to hold on to a little bit of patience there and see what I can do with that. See if anything pops up. But I quite like the idea of using that. It's a pretty cool looking bit of kit. But yeah, Winston9587. He's got some pretty cool mods on his website. He seems to be something of a fan of Caterpillar branded equipment. He has also made a couple of these. Usually they're like what I've got on my farm, the red case cotton harvesters. He's made some yellow Caterpillar branded ones, which are pretty cool. If I knew of the existence of this modder before I'd started this series, I reckon those two Caterpillar cotton harvesters would be on my farm now, but unfortunately not. I'm not going to do anything about swapping them over for now, but yeah, but they're pretty cool. But like I say, I'll put the link to his itch.io page in the video description below if any of you are interested in checking out his mods. But yeah, so anyway, let's go get this job done. Get using this big whopping thing. And it's I touched base on this a couple of episodes ago, didn't I? But trying to reverse this thing into my shed is just... It's not impossible, but it is almost impossible. Even trying to reverse it in at 1 mile an hour, the back, because of the way this thing works, the back legs of it just try and spread apart, and it's extremely difficult to try and reverse in. Ideally, it needs to be just driven into a shed forwards and pulled out of a shed forwards, but I don't have a shed with the room around it to allow me to do that on this particular farm build. Do I, Kim? So, yeah, but it is what it is. So, for now, it's just living outside for now, which is fine. So, anyway, right. So, in my usual fashion, I think we'll pop some music on and we'll get cracking with this job. I don't think it's going to take too long, but especially with the size of this roller, shouldn't be too long, I don't think. So, let's get rolling. Well, not long left to go now. Only about 20 odd minutes, I think, roughly. But yeah, making good work with it with this massive roller. It is an absolute beast, this is. It really is. But yeah, annoyingly, I did, as the course play was running the course then progressively throughout, I was just jumping in and out of the patches of unrolled and rolled land. And it seems unfortunate. I'm pretty sure you usually get like a 1 or 2% yield bonus increase when you roll the field. But according to this, no. We're at 100%, which is 100% is good in most things, isn't it? But yeah, on the rolled and unrolled areas of land on this field, unfortunately, it doesn't seem I'm getting any kind of bonus at all. So maybe I'm completely wasting my time and, most importantly, wasting my diesel, I suppose, with this. But I'm going to get it done anyway, just to get it out the menus telling me it doesn't need rolling anymore. So yeah, we're going to crack on. Like I say, not long left at all to go. But I did just have a quick check in the contracts menu as well, something that we may well have a look at in a maybe next episode or the next episode after. Just depends how I get on and just focus on my own land, really. But there's a couple of sowing contracts at the minute this month. And as I was talking earlier on in the video about the justification of having, you know, a couple of $100,000 worth of seeding equipment on the farm that currently has only use in one of my fields, we've got an almost 19 grand sorghum sowing harvest here, and contract, sorry, here, and we've also got another long grain rice seeding session there in field 146. So yeah, and interestingly that's in field 97, and that's the really expensive of the pair of fields that I pointed out earlier on in the video, didn't I? But yeah, so collectively what we got there, you know, maybe just under 40 grand, give or take a bit, so that could be worth my time for sure. But I did dial down the days per month to 3 days a month, didn't I? We're in April the 2nd, so I think maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should have just dialed them down to 5, because we started this on 7, but yeah, I may well dial it back up to 5 days, perhaps, for May, maybe, just to give me a bit of extra time to earn this bit of extra money moving forward on the series. But yeah, we're doing all right, though. Like I say, we've got, where are we? 14 minutes left on the contract, so yeah, on the job, sorry, in the field. So yeah, going well, it really is. But yeah, so I think while we're cracking on, I think I'll just finish this job off after the episode finishes. So yeah, I'm going to call it here for today's episode, folks. Thank you very much for watching. I really do hope you have enjoyed this episode and found it a little bit of fun. If you're new to the channel and you've enjoyed the video and you like the way I'm doing things, please consider hitting that subscribe button and jumping on board, joining the channel. Please hit that like button too, as it does do wonders. It helps the YouTube algorithm do its thing. And if you like the idea of supporting the channel, there's a couple of ways you can do that. There is my Giants Partner promo code, if any of you are in the market to purchase Farming Simulator 25 or any of its add-ons or DLCs. There's coffee.com if you'd like to buy me a coffee. And there is also my G-Portal affiliate link, if any of you are in the market for an online server to play with your mates. Any help and support there, as always, ladies and gentlemen, is massively appreciated. So, thanks again for your time, folks. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.